Hi guys. It's been a minute, or at least it feels like it. We're into February now, 2025. I have some Dollar General things, like always, but I also have some news. And I have a warning. And I shouldn't have to do this, I don't think. But, because I will, well, for reasons, do not put your glue gun by your paint. I know better. I was asked about that. Y'all, paint is flammable. Leave your glue gun and your paint away from each other. They do not get along. There. Got that done. Give me a second. I got Dollar General, and we got to make a wreath. Unfortunately, we're going to make, I think it's an 18-incher. Yeah. My friend Kerri died of the flu. It's been a little while, and I have not wanted to do her wreath. I've been holding out, but I will. I have couple of things to consider for the centerpiece. Here's one. This is from the new spring collection. So I thought that might go in the center, but I'm not sure yet. I'll show you a few things I picked up. I don't know what I'm going to do with them yet, but probably put them on a wreath somehow. I thought that was really cute. I really liked these. They are metal. They're not heavy, but they're not heavy, but they're not gonna bend as easily either. So they will be good for centerpieces. Especially for spring. Here's another. There's 4 different designs of those, I believe. This is a flag I plan on using somehow. On probably a square wreath form. I thought this would be a really cute center. I think I need to buy another square wreath form. My mother and I were everywhere looking for a heart wreath, believe it or not. Couldn't find one anywhere. So we're going with a 18-inch circle for Kerri. It took me a while to get here being in the craft room, because it's a funeral for someone I know, a good friend of mine, and that takes me a minute to do. Here's what we're probably going to do. And I'll show you why. This is a yardstake. Cute little gnome. What I'm thinking, a lot of the funeral wreaths can usually go in the ground somehow by the... Let go, you dude. I'm thinking of securing it like that. Let me bring it down. So that this will not be secured with glue. This is what we're going to do with zip ties to hold it in. And we'll cover the zip ties with floral tape or something. But this will give the whole wreath a thing to a base to sit on. So the first thing you want to do when you're doing something like that is put your wreath wrong side up. But whichever side for you is going to be the underside. Now you can do your flowers on top. No, we're talking like this, folks. When I say on top, we're talking on the bump of the rim where it's like this. Or it does work well if you put it on the underside like this, so that the flower is sitting in the crevice, in the cradle of the wires, like so. But if you do it like this, where the flowers are sitting in the cradle, be aware that be aware of your formation. There's going to be a divot there because it is going toward the inside. Just like if you use this part instead, there's going to be a raise in the center. So that could be focal flowers. Your main color scheme here. Say we're doing a red, white, and blue. You would want the flower color that you most want on the inside of the circle wires, which is the raised wire, because that one's going to be a little more visible. that could also do with ribbon or whatever. So, one thing, if you're going to leave it on the yardstick, watch your yardstick. This is side to side. This is how you want it, because it's going to be harder to secure if you try to secure it front and back, like this. If you keep it on the side, it'll be easier to secure, and it's going to be easier for your recipient to use. Sometimes when you buy your wreath forms and get them home, and this has happened to this one, I just got to figure out where. The wires, now you don't want to be on video, that's what it is. See how the wire kind of, let me flip it up. See how the wire kind of separates right there? That is okay. You can fix that with a zip tie, some hot glue or whatever, depending on where your project's going. Now, if your project is going to be out in the sun, in the desert, or wherever, keep the temperatures in mind. Your hot glue, that could have been dangerous. Your hot glue is going to be, depending on how if it's for high temperatures or not, and I'm not sure if you can get hot glue for that. So don't come at me if that's not a thing. I have not checked that out yet. I'm missing a bag. Isn't that always the way with me, though? Oh well, we'll find it later. Now, I also have this yardstick. Okay. And I like this one, but I'm using the gnome for a reason. My friend Kerri collected gnomes. Therefore, I wanted to do that. Now, I'm going to put the cradle part. That's what I'm going to call this. See how it's, fills that makes that mountain right there? I'm going to use that as the back side. So lay it down, back side up, wrong side up. Take your wreath form, and you want to sit your gnome or whatever. You want to put him in the center, and make sure it's in the center. Too high, and you're going to block other decorations, unless you want to do that. Now, if you want to decorate down the pole, and you want this little guy, you could do it like that. Okay. I don't want to do that. I want to do it right there. Probably about there. So I'm going to lay it flat, the gnome facing down onto my turntable. If you don't have a turntable for a work surface, and you can get one, I would suggest it. It does make it easier even when you're doing wreaths. And you ask me, well, if you're doing this for a friend, why are you doing a video? The reason is simple. I'm distracting myself. I about never got Anne's wreath form, her cross made, because I was crying the whole time almost when my friend Anne died of cancer. So I'm distracting myself. I'm going to use a white, thicker zip tie. Now you can put a dab of glue. My hot glue gun's heating up. I'm going to put a dab of glue on the wire just to hold little guy here in place. But I'm also going to be using zip ties. This is going to be outside in the summer, and we do tend to get 100 plus degrees here where I'm at, and we got high humidity. Instead of having air, you want to slice off a piece of air. It can be difficult. So, we will do this. And whoa, careful. Just zip tie it down. That's all you got to do. But, oh goodness, I dropped you. I bumped you. Sorry about that. Haha. I fixed it. Avalanche. Okay. I've got one zip tie, but now here's a problem. When you put your zip tie, because of the way this pole is, you're going to have to cross it over another wire to keep it from doing what mine just did. See, I did not secure it on this wire. I should have. So what I'm going to do is lay it back down, push it back up where I want it. Grab another zip tie. This is an easy fix. Go underneath. Hold on a minute, folks. All right. Go underneath and just cross that line right there. I know that probably didn't look so good. Let me do it real quick and I'll show you. I'm gonna have to cut off this zip tie that I screwed up on though because it's in the way. Because my zip ties are too thick, they do make thinner little green ones that work great for this. I'm all thumbs today. But I don't want this white zip tie to get in my way. Oops. All right, we're going to have to use it if you can't get it off, the zip tie off. Just, okay, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to hold this somehow, like that. You lose your zip ties, always get more. Buy more zip ties than you need. Now, cross over this wire piece right there. I'm going to try to come down in this manner, go behind so that I've got that side in. I've got it caught on that. So, and it didn't work. See, that's the problem. How do I fix it? So let's go do this. That'll work. Wrap that side. See, this is a problem. I have to figure this stuff out sometimes. And sometimes I don't do it right the first time. We all make mistakes. I'm going to pause a minute and get this fixed and I'll come right back. All right, we're back. Let me pick you up a minute. That was my phone stand. What we did here, there we go. I used this wire to cross over. So I made an X out of 2 zip ties. And then I went down and did the cross again on that bottom. You see how I used that center up and down wire to stop the moving side to side. Now let me figure out how to put you down. Oops, sorry. Now see, a lot of people would edit that stuff out. But I have a theory. You can't edit life. So why try? I like y'all to see my fails and my successes. Now, he might still go side to side a little bit, but that's fine. He's going to be nice and sturdy to be put in the ground. And Kerri collected gnomes, so that's why we're going with a gnome. Have you ever tried to find flowers in the color teal? That was her favorite color, and trying to find flowers that aren't wedding flowers in that color is a bit of a pain in the butt. So we're just going to see what we can see and go with a spring theme. Her fiance approved that. So some yellows, because we got yellow in the center. Now I like to tie my centerpieces into the rest of the work. And if you're doing funeral flowers, I like to keep the person you're making it for that has passed in my thoughts as I put the funeral is for the people. But I like to represent one last time, to the best of my abilities, the person who has passed by keeping them in mind when I make the funeral flowers. I agree. Someone told me on a comment somewhere to me personally that I knew personally. And she said, that's nice and all, but the funeral's for the people left behind. I understand that. I do. But to me personally, and especially if I knew the person and I want to give one last honorific, or whatever you want to call it, one last nod to the person that I knew that I want to. And so getting blue in here is difficult because I couldn't find blue everywhere. Of course, it's just after Valentine's, so there is that. I'm putting pink in here and blue because we both liked both those colors. but I'm trying to do a little bit to salute her as well. I realize, like my friend said, she thinks I should do more geared toward the griever instead of the decedent. However, I try to do both. I really try to do both. I was requested to also by her fiance to do more toward a nod toward Kerri. This is a last salute from the both of us. I didn't think I would hear from him again. He has become like a brother to me, and I'm really happy that he's staying in touch. We don't need a poinsettia. It's difficult when it's someone you love. It's really difficult to do the flowers for people that you love. It's easier to do them for people that are distant from you for some reason. Now this is more the color that she wanted, so I'm going to put that one in there. I like to lift this basket off. Have baskets around like that, but it's personal choice, folks. It's personal choice. If you think you can do a wreath for your family and you have the ability and you want to do it, it's not that it's hard physically. It's not like I'm lifting bales of hay here or anything. It's hard emotionally for me, and I think it would be for just about anybody, really. But always put out more flowers than you're going to use. But I didn't think I was this low on flowers, people. Wow, I got a reason to go flower shopping. I need more flowers. That gives me something to do, don't it? Now, I have these, and these are Christmas icicle ornaments. I was considering weaving them among the flowers, not because they're blue. They're going to give me a touch of blue, but I wanted it to be a flash of blue, so I'm hiding that they're icicles. When you got your bunch of flowers, again, I shouldn't have to say this, don't put your fake flowers directly next to your glue gun. It's going to melt. I think a few people have been asking me questions because they're beginners, and I don't mind answering questions, but I shouldn't have to. Y'all, you're not kids. You know not to put fake flowers right next to your glue gun or your paint next to your glue gun. Okay? Let's be logical. Just a bit. I'm not generally a logical person, but let's be a little logical. Now, here's what I want to say about this. It's for Christmas. Just because it's for Christmas does not mean that you have to use it just for Christmas. Now, granted, I'm not going to pull out a poinsettia unless I've, been asked specifically, this person, make this poinsettia. For funeral wreaths, I don't do that. Make sure your wreath, rabbit trail down there. Make sure your wreath is face up. Now, if you have something like this that you want to add in and you just want the color, I need the color. I want the color. So I'm going to put it on the raised part of the wreath. Sorry, I was having a fight with flowers. What I'm going to do, before I do anything else, I'm going to use glue and smaller zip ties to zip tie it on the raised part of the wreath, like so. Okay? I'm going to go around and do that. I will show you what it looks like when we come back. I've just figured out the pause button, so this way y'all don't have to hear me yak all the whole time that we're doing this. I'll do this and show you what it looks like when we come back. Now, keep in mind, with these, this is an experiment, but I have done this with ribbon before and wrapped these wires with like a sparkly ribbon or a very bright metallic or something. And when the flowers move, the color will pop through, especially in a breeze. So all I did was glue it and then zip tie it. But be careful when you're zip tying around hot glue. Your zip ties will not function if they get drying hot glue on them. Hold on, I've got an angel that's finished and she is in the way. I was waiting on her to dry so I can keep going, but there she is so far. I broke a statue the other day. It was about this tall. It was an angel. She was about a gig tall. I knocked her off the desk. Really wasn't happy about that. Now, if you're comfortable with floral tape, you can use that to hide the wires, and that would work really well, but I don't like this stuff. Floral tape, washi tape, yeah, I don't like it. It's difficult for me to handle, so I don't like it. Now, some of the colors we've got here are echoed because they are yellows. So we're going to echo whites, yellows, and the blues are just trying to accent. So we're basically going to go with a spring flower garden with yellows, pinks, whites, and some accents of blue. I'm just playing with the shiny blue on the ornaments. I'm sorry, that word just flew right out of my head. Now, you can use hot glue and hot climate. I'm not saying you can't. You don't have to zip tie everything down. Go ahead and glue it. It'll be fine. You might want to just you can put different wreaths on graves, depending on the holiday. My friend Anne had me do one for her mom's grave for Christmas last year. And that turned out really well. I don't think I showed you guys that one. But you can do that. If you have a child's grave, you could definitely do something geared toward that. Anne had twin boys that she had lost, so her sister and I have been taking turns putting those flowers on, and I haven't done that in a while. I haven't been down there. It's been too cold, folks. We went from Indian summer to wham, it's cold down here. Yep. That's how it rolls. Some of your flowers, depending on shipping and how they've been moved around and bumped around, might actually come apart. That doesn't mean you're going to have to throw them away. You just might have to. And I'm saying that because the center of this flower that holds it together, it has come off. So what you do, you're gluing down the flower that's coming apart, and try to find a flower, which we can go with pinks here or whites, but that echoes the color of the flower that is going to come apart. Here's a pinky whitey we're going to use. What we're going to do, we're going to put glue right here. Now, generally, pardon me, it works better if you have a smaller flower. So let me find something a little smaller. Where's my flowers? Yeah, that's a little smaller. A lot deeper in color, though, than I want. That won't work. Oh, that might. Yeah, that'll work. I'm going to use this. It's a little smaller. It's basically the same flower, just a little smaller. I'm going to put glue around here, and I'm not going to trim this stem because I want it to go in the center of that part that's missing. You're going to basically make it, you can use a different color, different flower altogether. You're basically making it look like a double flower. Like those beautiful big double peonies or zinnias. And just move the center of the flower apart. It's hard for me sometimes to show y'all this. Get the center petals away so that you can put this right in the center. And then push till the hot glue takes hold. Hold it like a sandwich. And the hot glue will take hold, and then your flower won't come apart. Like that. I need to glue this down a little more. Secure it down. Guess what, gang? That's hot. Now, make sure your flowers, you're going to have to put a little extra glue here because you've actually got to make them one. And that's what I'm doing right now. Ouch. And let me floof it a little. You can still make use of that. It just gives it a little more body. And if you have a flower that's looking a little wimpy, y'all, I swear, it's not my day. It's not my day, guys. In fact, there. I'm going to pause and I'm going to do this and I will show you the finished product when we're done. But that is how to make the flowers a little ploofier. Is that even a word, ploofy? But here, you don't want to hear me rattle. I'll see you in a few. Okay, I'm still working on it. Now, sometimes when you're working on a wreath, sometimes you want to get some flowers in around the wreath and then fill in the gaps, which is what I'm doing here. I'm just putting some other flowers around it. I have less flowers than I thought I did, so I'm having to go with what colors I can that match as well as I can. Now, this blues and teals were her favorite color, but I don't have a lot of those. I just don't. So I'm doing what I can to make it. So go ahead and put some of your base flowers down. And here shows a good example. See, that's not going to come through. But sometimes I put stuff like that on my wreath forms, even just because I need something else for the flowers to adhere to. And sometimes I'm just playing with a new pattern. And don't be afraid if your pattern doesn't work. That doesn't mean you screwed up or you ruined the project. It just means you got to rethink things. Life is learning, including crafts. You know, if you stop learning, you might as well just give up. That's kind of what I was taught growing up. My mom is, I get my very bluntness from my mother. Wow, ouch, that's hot. But don't be afraid to mess up. Don't be afraid to try new things. Don't be afraid to zip tie something that's not going to be seen to your wreath and glue it down because you need something for something else to stick to that's going to be seen. That might be a trick that you might need to employ a couple of times or more in one project, because sometimes you have to build a foundation. That's true with life, and that's true with crafts. Sometimes you need something that isn't going to show, that's going to give you the foundation to keep going with the rest of the project. And that's, like I said, that's true of life too. Isn't that what parents do? They give their kids a foundation for life. And you know, whatever your thing is. If I'm a Christian, if you're not, that's cool. I'm not here to, I will preach at you, so I'm not going to lie and say I won't. I don't mean to do it. I don't even realize I'm doing it half the time. But life is about learning. If you can't learn from your mistakes, sometimes you got to laugh at yourself and go, whoops, you know. And sometimes you have to add something to help when you lean on something, kind of like I'm doing with you guys. You know, this is not an easy wreath for me, not because the pattern's hard. I can knock this out. I should be already done, but I've been goofing off. You know, like I said, it's harder when it's family, when it's friends, when it's someone you know. And that hurts, darn it. I don't do funeral flowers for a lot of people. Just because a lot of people don't know, I give away a lot of my wreaths. You know, if you're a Walmart driver and there's a wreath hanging on the door, it's like, hey, do you want a wreath? And I'll bring out 2 or 3 and let them choose, and they'll walk off with it. I don't care. I really don't. This is therapy for me. This is fun for me. This is just, woohoo, let's have a fun, make a wreath. This is also an excuse to buy more fake flowers. I got more wreath forms than I'm ever going to use, at least with this amount of flowers. This is disgusting. I should have more flowers. Disgustingly small amount of flowers. But I have not been crafting in quite some time. I really haven't. Your girl's been out of the crafting for a while. Now see, I can't double that one because this is too big. So I'm going to take another white carnation that doesn't have a center either. What did I do to my carnations? Oh, okay, I see it. It doesn't have the pip. It still has the center holding it together, but it's flat, flush with the rest of the flower. And I think that makes it look kind of, sad's not the word, flat. It looks rather flat. I wish I could include this one, but let's not. That's for Halloween. I just meant the size of it. Oh yeah. Now I'll show you. I got these little trumpety flowers. What I'm gonna do, and this fits in with what I was talking about. I have one over here already opened up, and I don't like this. It's too flat, so I'm gonna put this one here and open it up. So we're gonna have two different colors, but they're both open right next to each other. This is gonna be happy chaos. That's what I should. Now sometimes you do need to trim this, but please be careful. That is what this is. That's what's holding your flower together. They're not just making fake stems inside the flower with the pollen nest. Yes, they are, but that's what holds your flower together. So if you're trimming this back end, don't trim it all the way flush or you're gonna destroy what holds your flower. Part of what holds your flower together. This and that holds your flower together. Now that might be too much, but I'm putting it inside a flower. So I'm gonna put a ton of hot glue on this. And remember, your hot glue drips down, so sometimes you just want to put a glob on and then let gravity take a hold for a few seconds and then move it. So that A, you don't burn yourself by putting too much on, but B, it can get in those cracks. And just push it in to the center of the other flower. Now I'm going to secure the flower so that it stays open by putting a tab on the back. And then I'm going to push it into another flower. I'm doing that because it's hot. And now it will stay open. Hold on. Just like that. I got these purple cattails. Don't know what I'm going to do with them. I only got a few left. I gave some away. Hold on, I got to move some paint. But don't be afraid to mess up. Don't be afraid to screw up your wreath and have to redo it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Now, if you're a type A personality and everything's got to be just so, okay, that's fine. If that's how you want to do it. Because I just had a brain drip. What if we took this one? Well, no, it's got a welcome on it. I don't like that. Okay, I've got the idea, but I'm not going to, because of the wording, might not be able to use it. But here's what I was thinking. Cover the word welcome up with Mr. Gnome and maybe some flowers, because we don't need the word welcome. And then we'd have, what do you think? I kind of like that. You can layer whatever you want. It doesn't always have to be flowers. And don't think you have to only make certain holiday stuff around that holiday. I'm out of glue. Hold on. Because a lot of people will buy Christmas stuff in the summer. If you're doing this for sale and you want to try to sell some Christmas stuff in the summer, don't go against your first. It might sit on the shelf in your Etsy store or wherever, but people do buy Christmas stuff in the summer or other holiday stuff in the summer, especially if they're looking for a good price. Now go put this on. And it's going to lay on there, but it's not going to adhere, even though I put down some glue. I needed something of a rough texture. But I knew the glue wouldn't reach through. I'm doing it. Now, what I did was, I messed up because I had the zip tie backwards. I'm going to have to go under. I've got it face down again, so the back is facing me. Put the welcome behind the gnome, because like I said, this is for a funeral, so that's kind of, we're going to cover up the welcome part, but I want the blue flowers. I think they would bring more blue into this. What I like to do, since I have trouble, this is wrong side out on your zip ties. If you get them backwards, they're not going to hold. So, wrong side out on either side of the pole that we've already put it down on. Okay, and then go through the honeycombs. I gotta go see who's here. Okay. Now, it's not, I didn't even get it. See, I messed up. I was listening to the dogs and I didn't even get the thing secured. So let's try that again. Let me secure this and then I'll talk. All right, I want to show you something. What I was going to do isn't going to work. So, look on the back of the gnome. My pointers. You see this that's already there? We are going to put a zip tie right through the back of that. See how that just slid in right there? Now what we're going to do is take that I got to get your sticker off, your little tags or whatever. Price stickers, tags, get all that trimmed off. Again, we're going to take these parts of the zip tie behind the welcome and push it up through the welcome sign or the honeycomb or wherever you want to secure it. I'm going to see how it'll secure if I put it through like this. I'll show you in a minute. I know you can't see. My setup's not the best. That's much better. Go ahead and trim your excess. Now, we've got it right there. Okay, so there's the back. Now, if you flip it over, there's the front. All right, I may have to hide this, this part of the W and the E. I probably put something there, maybe a flower or something, but this gives us a bit more of a look, I think. And they're part of the same set. The gnome was part of all of this was together. And they have these pretty pathway stones. In fact, I picked up 3 of them. And Mom's like, how are you going to use them on wreath? I was like, I don't know. I'll figure something out. Here's one. And here's number 2. And they only had 3 patterns at my Dollar Tree. And there's number 3. I really love those. I don't know how I'm going to use them. They do have some weight to them. They are substantially heavy. But again, they're part of that pattern. I don't want to put them on here because I'm pretty sure they'll fall. It'll come off. I think we're just going to take a couple of flowers or something. I don't know. I don't know yet. We'll figure that out. Sorry, I was thinking. But I'm getting closer with the flowers. You can overdo the flowers. It's not going to hurt nothing. Put as many flowers as you want on. I've seen people like them really bare. I'm not one of those. If you have me do a wreath, it's going to cover pretty much the wreath because, well, that's just me. But you do you. You do whatever you like, whatever floats your boat. You know, if you like a minimal look to your wreaths, or your customer does, that's fine. And remember, when you're first doing this, I would get some practice in before you put them on for sale. Because you want, and when you ask people, what do you think? Make sure you're asking somebody if you want an honest opinion and you don't want them to blow smoke up your skirt. I tell them, you know, hey, make sure you can handle it if it's not good. Because I've had people tell me, you know, before when you started this, you weren't very good. And you're not going to be very good when you start anything new. But now you've gotten a lot better. And I would have appreciated it had they told me when I was working on them before, hey, this isn't great. You know, that's sometimes why I have my mom look at something. because I know I can trust her to give me honest feedback that she thinks, okay, this looks too, these colors don't look together, or this clashes, or this looks really good, or what if you put this over to the left a little more? Sometimes you need feedback like that. Don't be afraid of that kind of feedback, because you can use it to improve your skills, improve what you're doing. Once you have these pieces of metal together like this, you can look where the metal touches. All right, if you want to secure it a little more, where the metal touches, just lift up the front piece just a hair and put some glue right where you know it's going to touch, and then push down. Hold it till that glue dries a little bit, and then let go. That'll just give you a little bit, and while the glue is tacky, you can wipe away the excess. That's why I have Q-tips. Take one of these so you don't burn yourself, and just clear away some of that extra. And you sometimes you pull off this and just use the plastic part. Don't be afraid to disassemble. No. That'll secure that to the back a little better. But don't be afraid to be bad at something. Don't be afraid to improve your skills. No one was here, by the way. That was my dogs being idiots and barking at the neighbors. Isn't that fun? Now, just like, wait a minute, you're sitting cricky. Okay, now, just like with my painting, I do a finished look of my wreath, okay? And I don't like the fact there's not enough of Kerri's true favorite color involved. So I'm gonna get messy. Excuse me a minute, I need a painting smock. Painting smock. Okay, got that. Because I'm going to do something I've never done before. I'm going to do a little bit of experiment. No, that won't work. First, I got to find a brush that I think will work. There we go. I'm going to use this brush. Now, I'm going to grab, there it is. Hold on, I got to get my paint thing. Painting tip. Now, I've got a little water over here. Hold on, let me grab it. There's just a little bit of water in here. So I'm going to put a little water in one of my wells because I want to water down this paint quite a bit. What I'm going to use, I'll show you in a minute. This is not sponsored, but here's what I'm going to use. It is from Color Shift. It's called Aqua Flash, which is brilliant turquoise. Turquoise was her favorite color. Okay, some paints, they have a cover inside the lid you need to peel off. Always shake your paint. Now I'm going to pour this in the well with the water. I want to thin it out. That brush is going to be too big. So I got me a smaller brush. And I'm going to mix the paint in with the water. This is going to create a really thin acrylic watered down paint. And if I think it's too thick, you can always add more water if you're going to do this. Now, I've never done this before. This is a experiment. But what I'm going to do is load my brush with her favorite color, and I'm just going to flick it. Oops. And just kind of flick. Whoa, you don't want your brush to be too loaded, but just kind of flick some color There, let it drip. You know, God's paintbrush, right? Sometimes you can just shake if you can't flick. This works really good with white carnations. Carnations, if you're looking for something to look fancy, but say you don't got a lot of money or whatever, carnations are your flower. One of the flowers you can really use for that. And see, some of them I'm letting drip because I want a bit bigger. Or you can wiggle it like this. Just adding a little more teal. On me too. That's what a shower's for, folks. If you're gonna overstress it, and then if you want to, just go in there and just kind of play around and add a little splash of color. Don't be afraid to do that. I'm just gonna add a few splashes of color. Nothing big. See, I'm just, if you want to, load your brush so it's kind of drippy, and then just don't even push down. Just swish right over the top of your petals. Just swish, swish, swish. Add a little color. And I do this when I don't have enough of the decedent's color, favorite color, or something to represent them. It's just a personal quirk. It doesn't have to be something that you manage to do. And now that that's done, I need to look it over one more time and see if there's any gaps. Now, if you're doing a double center like I did, it's going to be heavy in the center. It's going to lean back a bit. It might lean back a bit, but it shouldn't mess up the wreath. The rose represents Ronnie, and that's her fiance. Kerri liked gnomes, so the Kerri is the gnome. So Ronnie and Kerri in the middle. And springtime, new life, love all around. That's my tribute to my friend Kerri. I had one proper teal, really light teal color flower that I put in there. I'm going to grab my paintbrush, add a little more teal on Mr. Gnome here, teal on the little flower. Maybe there's some teal colors coming out of the center. And this is a metallic, which anybody who's seen me with paintings, you all know I love my metallics. This won't, it's going to dry very, very light. It's barely going to be noticeable, but I know it's there, you know, and this is personal, so I know what she and her fiance would want. So representing Kerri is very important to both of us. So we got to add a little more teal in there. I'm painting the beard of the gnome with a little bit of teal. Since it's metal, I'm painting it and leaving it flat so it will dry, and then I will spray with a clear coat so that the gnome's beard stays slightly teal. But now, see, this is just me having fun, me experimenting. You can't even really tell I've been at this thing with some paint, not unless you knew. So you can even do that a little bit. Let that dry. But that is the funeral wreath. That's me just having fun with it. And don't be afraid to mix things around. Like I said, you can do 2 centerpieces. It will do this, but so warn whoever gets it. Or you can put a second stake on there if you think that the balance is going to be affected. I might do that. I might add a second stake. In fact, I've got one around here somewhere. You can take the things off the stakes, which is why I was looking around. I have a sunflower one around here somewhere I can take off its, there it is. You can take this off its stake. All you gotta do is push. But it takes more force than I can usually do, but you can usually just pop these metal things off, which is what I'll do later. I think I need help. You can also turn them. That's what my cousin does. Turns them to get them off, but he's got better hand strength than I do. And he keeps reminding me that's why I'm the youngest. But I'm going to include this somehow. So let's see. Usually 3 centers is a bit much, I think. 3 centers is a bit much. But I think it does need a second pole. So I'm going to mess with these till I get them off. Now see, I just popped that leaf off. That's all I got to do is pop it off, mess with it. These are really thin metal. So just twist it and turn it, and the metal's going to give up. It's going to break. Pop that off, and if you can get it popped off in... If you can get it popped off where you can still see what it is and you can reshape it, then you can still use it. There it goes. See? Now I'm just gonna go back on the back. So we're gonna flip it over again. And we're gonna give a little bit more support to the back here. I don't want to be too far off the other pole. And you're going to have to be careful when you're bumping this, because when you're doing this, you don't want to bump or don't want to have your kids bump when you're putting these supports in, because they do need to be secure and in place. And if you get it cattywampus, your wreath will sit cattywampus, which is fine. You know, for some people, especially if it's a kiddie-made wreath, but if it's something serious, you kind of want to be serious with it. You know what I mean? I'm not saying anything bad about kids helping now. I got great nephews, and if they were here, they could be back here with me. That's fine. One's 3, 4, and one's 6. And you know, if they were here, I wouldn't have a problem with them being back here. But I want this to sit straight when they put it on the grave. I did a cross for her mother's grave, and she's buried right. She's going to be buried right by her mother. They're doing a cremation, but when you're doing a cremation, you can also bury the urn, and that's what they're going to do. And Kerri hopefully can find peace with her mother that they had difficulty with in life. Now see, I got that backwards. It's not going to work if your smooth side is not facing in. When you're putting these on, put the smooth side in so that when you turn it like this, it's going to catch the teeth, because I will be turning it around. So your teeth really need to be in and your smooth side out. That's what I meant to say. If you heard the yelling, sorry, Mom was getting onto the dog for something. It's like having 4 2-year-olds in the house. Only some of our 2-year-olds are a lot bigger than others. But I'm going to use a couple of more zip ties here because I want to really secure these together so they'll make almost like a single. Okay, that's not a zip tie, that's a piece of zip tie. There's a reason I got 4 trash cans in the crafter. And that's another tip. Don't be afraid to have... Who asked you? A number of zip ties. In fact, I might switch colors here. You can use colored zip ties to get your... if you want, so that you match behind the flowers or whatever. So that if it does get seen, it will look like part of the design. Or some of them are different colors because they're different thicknesses. But see, that's the logical brain, and I don't like logic. I'll let someone else be logical. I won't be unless I have to be. Now, sometimes I gotta turn them over because I don't realize I have them backwards until I've already got them in place. If you do it right, you can twist the twist tie and twist it and it will move. I want to show you after I get this done. It's just taking me a second, folks. Now, if you have good dexterity and you don't have problems with your hands, this won't take very long. But part of the reason I got into doing this is because I have a disability called cerebral palsy, and I needed help with my pinch grip. If you don't use it, you can lose it. So they say, might as well find something fun to do, because exercises suck. Now, I think I have green in here somewhere. I saw you come back from home. I do. Found it. Green. Now, I'll show you in a second what I'm attempting. I want to give this thing a little more stability because it's got more in the center. And we do get some wild winds around here. I'm in Tornado Alley. I don't expect this to stay. I cut the twist ties. Do you believe it? What, Mom?
Your poor dog has got her leg got a half of her clothes.
I'll fix it in a minute. Tilly, my youngest dog, has got her outfit. She has an outfit on to help stop her scratching because she's allergic right now to something and we don't know what. And so she has an outfit to stop her scratching, and she's gotten out of her clothes. There it is, finished. That gives it a double pitchfork look to be more stable because there is more weight on the internal of this. So I wanted to so you've got your support in the back right here. So here's the final wreath. I hope you liked it, and goodbye, Kerri.
If you want to keep it on or take it off.